Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well and that you are having great fun on this course. I'm going to do a short introduction on the use of personas in learning design. You may recognize this slide from the last time when I did the short introduction on design and learning design in general. Koch talks about the traits of design thinkers as being empathetic, curious, creative, not fearing failure, being keen to experiment and collaborate. But of these, most probably the most important one is empathy, focusing on the learner and the learning experience of the learner. It is sometimes difficult to realize just how little we know about our students, and we just assume that a generic response will be good enough. But when we design, we really have the opportunity to make deliberate decisions to the benefit of our user group, our students. So remember, Lawson talks about how the problem and the solution spaces move alongside each other towards finding the most feasible end result. And therefore, it is not about understanding the problem, then leaving the problem behind and moving towards a solution, but rather the solution becoming evident, almost obvious, as the problem crystallizes or becomes more evident. So instead of a linear process, the design process is iterative, and it is about understanding, observing, defining, ideating, prototyping, and testing. But then this whole process returns on itself in an iterative fashion. The exercise on the student persona fits into this first part of the process, where it's about discovering or defining the problem. Now, the design problem in our teaching and learning in higher education context can be defined by a number of things, like, for example, resources, time and space constraints, the level of the program, the duration of the program, the curriculum, the expected end result, etc. All of those things play out in defining the problem or the challenge or the dilemma for which we want to design. However, a very important aspect of the problem or the challenge that is often overlooked is the nature and the circumstances and the character of our student. And that is not to say that it is ever possible to find a generic definition of what the student is or what students are. So I'm going to hand over to Joyce Seitzinger, who interviews a researcher at RMIT, where they are using student personas towards better learning design, and they're employing student personas to help them bring to life the learning design challenge or problem. Now, this video consists of two parts, and we're not going to look further than the first part where she interviews the researcher. The second part consists of a section where she talks to a lecturer who is actually employing personas in learning design. So you are free to search for this video by simply looking on YouTube, search for Joyce Seitzinger, Student Personas and RMIT, and you can watch the full video. There's also the link at the bottom of the screen. So let me hand over to Joyce.
Hi, my name is Joyce Seitzinger and I'm a learning designer at RMIT. As part of an innovative design process, we are rolling out the use of personas. You've probably heard of them. So today we're going to find out what are they and how can they be used. Let's go. Ray, now you are a CX researcher with the CX team at RMIT, and I want to talk to you today because I wanted to find out a little bit more about personas. We hear this word a lot. What are personas?
So personas are a representative tool that we use in our team. What they are is they are an individual person that is basically an aggregate of a number of people. So if you take Winnie over here, she's from Hong Kong, she's an international student. She's not real, but she's somebody that we use to model our decisions off. It brings to life the student, and not just in terms of who they are demographically or categorically, but by their behaviors, by their needs, by their mindset. So Winnie, she might be an international student from Hong Kong, but she also might like to take her time with studies. She also might not necessarily be that social. She might like to hunt for little hidey holes within campus. And what that really does is it allows us to get that depth into the different types of students that we have at RMIT.
Okay, so when we do course design or when we do program design, we often have like a student in our head that we're designing for. Is that a persona?
Not quite. So that's something that we call a zombie persona. What that is that's when the designer or whoever's doing the work is just thinking of their idea of what a student might be, and that isn't actually anchored in research or data. The persona is something that is the product of all of the research that we've done. But what we do use is this model called be, see, and hear, where we be the students, we see the students, and we hear from the students. So starting from the back, hearing is those deep dive interviews where we go and talk to them, and we've talked to about, I think, 100 different students now, and it's only going to increase. Seeing students are things like contextual inquiry or observations.
Right.
So going to things like Info Corner or RMIT Connect and just having a look at how students are feeling.
Do you sit in lectures?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's being students. And that's the last category. That's where we actually put ourselves into the shoes of students and do exactly what they do.
Now, for people who are new to personas, this might be a difficult, concept or a new concept to get their head around.
When people start to use personas, when they see personas, what they think of is they think of categories. They think of, oh, I'm X type of person, or I'm this persona. And that isn't quite how they work. A better metaphor is probably a beach ball, where you've got, say, the student body as the entire beach ball, but then you have the different wedges along that beach ball.
Right.
And so from your vantage point, you might be looking at that student body with a particular color or a particular persona, whereas I might be looking at it in a different way.
Right.
So they're still the
you're
same
on the other
people.
side of the beach ball, but they're all part of the student body.
Exactly.
All right, well, thanks, Ray. That's been really, really helpful. I feel like I've got a much firmer grounding on what personas are and how we might be able to use them. So thanks.
I hope that was useful and that you know a little bit more about personas now. Have fun making your own and employing them in your own learning design.